What's up, everybody? What's up, Christopher? Lance? Josh? I see you. I see you. I figured I'd start out with some music, right? Just make it fun. So let's pause that. Listening to some Blackstreet, No Diggity. That's a fun song. What is up, you guys? Yes, watch Pitch Perfect. So, how the heck are you guys? Hope you're having an amazing Thursday. It has been an interesting day for me. I started out and I had a plan of what I was going to do, and life said, "Oh yeah, that's cute. You've got a plan." I was trying to export this video from this recording of my workshop that I did in Phoenix a few weeks ago, so I could upload it and get it ready to send out to my people tomorrow, to my, whatever they're called, my early birds that got it when they bought their tickets to my workshop. And I started to do that, but then I got super bogged down with I thought everything was backing up to an external hard drive or sending and saving all my video projects on external, but it was saving it on my internal hard drive on my computer, and I had less than a gig of space left on my computer. So the day was spent shifting, deleting, clearing, transferring over, all that kind of stuff. And it just barely got done maybe about a half an hour ago. So that's why this live is coming to you so late tonight. So, but it's all good now, and it's just going to be an awesome night. So I'm just going to throw up a couple of these awesome comments here. There's Christopher. Christopher, how are you, brother? How's everybody's doing? Good job, Christopher. So, okay, I got to throw this up on there, and we're going to talk about this for a second. Christopher is my newest big action taker. Lance has been the biggest action taker. Aaron has been right on his heels, taking action. Then there's Colleen, and there's Val, and now Christopher is on the board as one of my major action takers. He went live after my live on Tuesday. He watched it, and then he went live that night. You know how I said, I wouldn't be offended if you jumped off right now and went and did a live. He did it immediately after, or he might have jumped off a little early off of mine to do his. And that is awesome. So I want to give him a shout out. You're crushing it, and I love it. And I saw that you went live with Wallace and earlier today. I haven't got a chance to watch it yet, but I definitely will. So I just wanted to say thank you to you, and kudos and props for being an action taker. And guess what? You've probably already seen, you mentioned, he mentioned in a Instagram story the other day, right after his live, his first live, somebody was like, I needed to hear that today. That was perfect. Do you see, you guys? That is why I'm encouraging you and getting up in your face and telling you to publish and use Facebook Live in telling your stories, because your impact is huge. It's immediate. You get amazing feedback, and you grow your audience, and you get clients, right? I've got clients like Aaron Stewart. He is one of my clients. He's one of my best friends too. Now, after we spent some time together, it's funny how that happens when you give and put your message out there, like I have been, or things like that. The people who do hire you and become clients are perfect. They're willing to pay, and guess what? They become almost like family members really fast because you have this rapport and this connection with them. So, Christopher, good on you, buddy. I'm so proud of you for just doing and taking action. So, blow this up with hearts for Christopher, okay? So today I want to talk about so Lance has missed our last few. He's had to watch them on the replay because he's been so busy with work. He's actually looking to hire somebody, another plumber for his business, because they've got so much going on, and he has been crushing it with his lives and with everything that he's doing in his business. He's obviously delivering for his customers, getting referrals, getting testimonials, all of those things, and it's just super cool. So if you are going to miss or have to watch my stuff on replay, that's a great reason too. So don't apologize, Lance. That's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. So today, I want to talk about what happens when we wait. What things happen when we wait? When we are either waiting for all of our circumstances to fall into place before we take action, or when we wait for somebody else to do something or whatever. So that is what we're going to dive into today. With that said, let's get crack-a-lackin'. What is up, everybody? I am happy that you guys are on. Josh, Lance, Christopher, and who else is on? I'm not sure. I can't see who it is. So drop a comment and let me know you're here. If you're here on the live, hashtag live. If you're watching this later, hashtag replay. I'm going to throw that little engagement out here at the beginning. But today we are talking about what happens when we wait. When we wait for everything to be perfect, when we wait for things to fall into place, when we wait for somebody else to do something in order for us to take action. What happens when we wait? Now, this stems from a conversation. Just brought it to the front of my mind. A conversation that I had, I've had over the last couple days with one of my friends. And it's funny. He came to me on Messenger and was like, "I'm working on my story, and I would love to have you help me do that. Like, what products or what do you offer? What do you sell that I can put to work?" And I was like, "That's so cool! I'm so excited! This is awesome. Let's start talking about it." And I said, like, this is the best way. A lot of you know I do like 90-minute story coaching sessions. And I've done a bunch of them, or I've done 3 or 4 of them over the last couple weeks. And it's a lot of fun. And you guys, the people who hire me to do that, get tons of awesome nuggets and value out of it. We go deep into your backstory and your personal story and connect it to your business. And it's just a lot of fun. And so I said, that is the best way for us to get your story dialed in. Let's do this. And I sent him the order page and told him how much it cost and all that kind of stuff. And then the next day I got guess what message I got? "Oh, I'm gonna wait for a little bit. It's just I'll circle back with you," basically, right? That kind of thing. And I was just like, here we go. And usually I just be like, "Okay, cool. Whenever you're ready, that's fine." And I took that same approach, but I said, what changed from yesterday to today? I just said, like, what changed? Because yesterday you said, hey, you had your wallet out and was like, "What can I buy from you in order to get my story hammered out and tightened up?" And I told you, and now you're like, right? And it was a couple days before I got a response back because he's busy and those kinds of things. And like, I love this guy. He's a newer friend. I don't know him super well personally, but he's just a good dude, right? So I'm not like holding anything against him. So I don't want it to sound like I'm mad at him or anything like that if he ends up watching this. But it was funny. Like, then he went into this. It was a long message about how he's got so many things up in the air, and his story isn't selling any of them, and that kind of stuff. And at some point things are going to kind of settle down or get in things, and then he can be intentional with his stuff. And so I countered again. I was just tempted to just leave it at that, but again, he's a former athlete. I'm a former athlete. I've got my Thunderbirds SUU t-shirt on today. And I kind of got coach mode for a second. And I just asked him a question. I didn't go like on a tirade like a coach may, but I just said, I understand the budget thing. It's all those kinds of objections and issues and troubles and challenges. Like that is part of life. But I'm like, if you have so many things up in the air and your story's not selling them, you should focus on the story so that you can start using it to sell the stuff, right? It'll give you direction in your message and where you should put your stuff by, that kind of thing. And then I just left it at that, and then he came back with some more. But again, it was just like deflecting, saying like, like I've got this business and that's just, I report to somebody else and it's a job. Then I have this family business, and then I have my passion thing that I want to get to. And like my story is to the passion thing, but we'll get there at some point. So I was just like, okay, right? So, Gail, what the heck? How are you? Bart. And Joanne, what is up, you guys? We're going to put that on here. So I sat there and I'm sitting there thinking about this little back and forth that we had and how frustrating it is, at least like from my perspective. And when you look at it from like the coaching eye and from an outside perspective, he wants to work towards his passion and building his passion as his business. And that's where his story is really going to fit. But he has to do all of these other things with other businesses that aren't going anywhere and ones that are a job that he would replace. And it wasn't enough of a priority for him to work on the story that could get him to the passion part faster, right? He needs to wait until these other things are going on. That's what the story he tells himself, right? And it started to get me thinking about like, there's no better time. Like, they talk about when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the second best time? Right now, right? What's up, Joanne? Good to have you on. So, with that question, when's the best time to develop your story? Like 20 years ago or 10 years ago. When's the next best time? Right now. And those of you who've been watching along, I know that he hasn't been watching this stuff. Just because I think he would be in a different mindset when we had that conversation. But that taking action and implementing is the hugest thing, is the only way you're going to get forward, right? That's why Lance is crushing it in his business. That's why Aaron is crushing it with his lives. That's why Christopher has started and has had awesome reception and stuff already. And he's been invited on to be a guest on other people's lives already. And he's only done 2 of them. He's only been doing it for 2 days. By putting himself out there and taking action, not being like, oh, well, once I get this down, or like he's doing this whole lifestyle change and he's eating super healthy, and it's been fun to watch. He lost 20-something pounds in a matter of a couple weeks. He was able to get below 300 pounds in time for his birthday. And it was just so cool to watch that transformation. And he's been awesome on Instagram, and people have seen that. Now he's sharing his expertise here on Facebook to be able to just have and share the goodness, right? And if he would say like, oh, wait until I'm, when I hit the 250 mark or something like that, then I'll be comfortable enough to go live and point the camera at myself, or, that kind of stuff. Whenever you set off, once this happens, then I will, you're never going to do it. It's just straight shooting. I'm not trying to be rude, but like if you always put off something so that X, Y, and Z can happen first, and then you go on to do the thing that you actually want to do and you're excited about and you're passionate about, it's going to be that timeline is going to be so far down, and you may never get there if you have that mindset and that mentality, right? So Lance says you got to go do it to get it. Exactly. Nate, thanks for hopping on, dude. So this is, I want to share you a couple of examples. Not in business, like not necessarily in business, but examples of times that I waited for something else or was waiting on somebody else to do something in order for me to take the next step or to do the thing that I wanted. Are you guys cool with that? First of all, are you getting what I'm putting down? Picking up what I'm putting down? I think you are, but throw me some of those hearts and likes and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So, Josh says, you got to turn my excuses into reasons. Exactly. The excuses and the lies that we tell ourselves to keep ourselves comfortable because it's a stretch to spend a couple $1,000s on something, or to hire a coach, or to go ask that guy or girl out on a date or for coffee or whatever. Those are the things we tell ourselves to keep ourselves from harm, right? If, like Tony Robbins talks about this, if you saw, I'm a dude, so I'm going to talk about from the male perspective. Sorry, ladies. Just flip the genders around, or however you identify. And he talks about if you saw a beautiful woman at a place and you wanted to invite her to dinner, and you decide, oh, I'm going to do this. You go down two paths. You either go and you do it, or you don't, right? And typically we talk ourselves out of it because, like, oh, I'd be embarrassed if she said no, or, oh, I can't take that rejection, right? But if you look at it from the point of view of, I'm going to go ask her. If she says no, I'm no worse off than I am right this very second. It might take a little sting to the pride to be told no, but she might have something that's legitimate going on. She might be whatever, and she just can't. But regardless, you won't be any worse off asking something or taking action. And if it doesn't work, you go back on. You weren't going to have dinner with anybody. That was your plan initially, so you still have dinner, right? It's the same kind of thing. So, Nate, thanks, dude. Speaking absolute truth there. About how to change the mindset. It's absolutely imperative that we stop telling ourselves the lies. So I want to show you a couple of stories, or tell you a couple of stories, man, from my personal experience that kind of relate to this, okay? And then, I got to throw this up. Christopher, he said, when you said get over yourself and do it, waiting until you have the big audience is not the way to go. That hit me between the eyes. Dude, I love that. Thank you for sharing that. It's absolutely true. And this is just building on that, right? We need to get over ourselves, but now we need to get over these other things that we put in front of ourselves in order to keep ourselves safe, right? To stay within our budgets or whatever it might be. So a lot of you don't know this. Like you can see over my shoulder there, back there and out of focus, are some guitar cases. I play the guitar. I write songs and I sing. And this morning, if you didn't see on my personal page, if we're not friends, go friend request me, or and send me a message that you did, because I get so many, it's hard to sift through them now. But on my personal page this morning, I shared a post that one of my buddies, Anthony Darling, tagged me in and shared. He came across, and it was one of our jam sessions. At the end of it, like it was 2 a.m. where it was like the last thing we did before we packed up and went home, and it was just us jamming, and then we turned it into a song, right? And it was so fun. Now I remember looking back at Facebook posts. You know how in your memories it shows you your posts from like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, last year, and so forth. I saw one. I've seen several where I was like, I do something with my creative abilities, and I had so much fun, but I didn't believe I could make money with it. I'd be like, would anybody love to just give me $60,000 so that I can quit my job and do this for a living? All that kind of stuff. And when it came to me finally listening and turning off that stupid voice in my head of be responsible, be a grown-up, get a real job, or keep getting real jobs, and listening to myself and what my heart was telling me I should do, I was waiting for somebody else to see that I was super valuable and I would make $100,000 a year, and then I would be able to pursue my hobbies more. I was waiting for other people to give me something in order for me to do what I wanted to do. And it was just so stupid of me to think and have my mind that way. I can call myself stupid because it's my story. I'm not going to call any of you guys stupid for the things that you do, right? That was just me at the time. I'm no longer dumb. I'm a very intelligent person and always have been, but it's because I stopped waiting for things to happen and to fall into place for me to do what I wanted to do. I just started doing it. And good things happened, right? So there's one example of something that I did and went through myself that took me, that looking back, I'm like, oh, you're such a doofus. You aren't a doofus anymore. You were such a doofus then, thinking that you weren't worthy of, or you weren't good enough for pursuing your dreams. But I am good enough. I always have been. And I have a purpose. And that's, all that kind of stuff. And for a long time, I put it away because I wanted somebody else to value me so much that they paid me X amount of dollars, and then everything would be fine and I would be able to do my thing. That's garbage. Garbage, Nick. Garbage, young Nick. Right? And it was, when you wait, it prolongs and pushes things back. I was in the wrong mental state at the time. I thought that I was dependent on other people to value me a certain way in order for me to make the living that I wanted. And I went from job to job, to position to position to position, trying to make that work, or trying to get that number and make that paper, right? But now that I just said, you know what, screw this. I'm not going to work in a cubicle farm ever again. I don't want to work on furthering somebody else's dream where they make millions or billions of dollars and I make $50,000 a year. I don't want to do that anymore. I want to do what I want to do and help people in the way that I know I can help them. And once I did that, guess what happened? Amazing things happened. I started to make money. People paid me for them to tell me their life story. And then I just listened to it and I loved it. And then I put it together in something for them to use for their business. And it's just like the first time that somebody ever hired me for one of these sessions, I was just like, that was so awesome. They paid me $2,000. And I sat there and I got to know all about them and their history and their passions and what they love. And they paid me to do it and they loved the experience. Holy cow, right? Here's another example. First, are you getting this? I love this. Let's see. Lance says, do not procrastinate the day. That's a little bit of a spiritual or scriptural reference, right? Don't procrastinate the day of your repentance. Don't procrastinate the day of changing your life and taking action and doing stuff. Don't say, oh, I have to have this happen and this happen and this happen. If it's something that you want to do, you can do it. You don't have to wait. You don't have to have somebody give you permission, right? And I understand being responsible with things and if things really aren't in your budget or things to be able to go on that trip to that seminar or to hire that coach or to go to join that coaching program or whatever it is, right? I understand that. The next story I'm going to tell is about that very thing. But when you have a deep-rooted desire and you feel it, and especially if you approach that coach or that system or that program saying, hey, oh my gosh, this is so cool, I'm so excited, where do I sign up? And then when you get handed the paper to sign up and you go, well, actually, I think I have to get a couple of things in line first, and then I'll come back to the next one, right? And guess what? The next one comes and you either don't show up because you can't get the time off work, or whatever, or you do go and you do the same thing again, or you take action immediately and don't even wait for the sign up and you just go and pay for it and buy it because you're like, I can't believe that I passed up on this and I'm so much farther behind because I didn't the first time, right? So, hey Mel, how are you? It's been a minute. So this next story, some of you have heard. Others, this will be something new to you, and that kind of stuff. but is a perfect example of not waiting for things to fall into place. So a lot of you are friends that I've met through the company ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is a company that is owned by Russell Brunson, who is a childhood friend of mine. I've known him since in elementary school. And then, we went our separate ways after high school, of course, and things like that. But ClickFunnels every year has an awesome, life-changing event called Funnel Hacking Live. And in 2018, Funnel Hacking Live was in Orlando, Florida. And I totally wanted to go. I was like, this would be so cool to go to. But I just didn't have the money. I didn't have the money to travel. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the $1,000 for a ticket to get into it, right? I didn't have for the hotel. I just didn't have enough to cover all of it. And through a generous offer from my friend Russell, he said if I got myself there, he would give me a ticket to get in. And so I was like, I've got to do this. And so, I had just enough money in my company bank account to cover my airfare. So I booked my plane tickets. And then it was, I was able to get a hotel room at the resort, and somebody couldn't go at the last minute, so I got their room, but I put that on a credit card, right? And I went, and it was an incredible life-changing event. Like the very first speech when it was going on, I was just like, if I had to leave right now, this trip would have been worth it. It was just incredible. Like I had the chills and the hair standing up on my arms and goosebumps and all that stuff, right? And then it came to the second to last day, and there was an offer for a coaching program. And I was going through the presentation, and I was like, this is exactly what I need. Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Okay. Oh, I want this. How much is it going to cost? That kind of thing. And when they dropped the cost, it was a gut punch. It took the wind out of my sails completely. It's an incredible coaching program, and it was $1,800 a month. And I was just like, we pay $700 a month in rent, and we're on food stamps and Medicaid and, all this stuff. I'm like, how am I going to justify spending that much money on something? Right. And so I talked with my wife. I told her all about it, got her all excited, and everything, but then the cost, I was like, right. And I talked to my dad, telling him about it and how amazing it would be. And I told him the cost. And it was just like, right. And I remember I went to bed that night, and I did not sleep well. I was tossing and turning. I got emotional, before I went to bed and all that stuff. Luckily I didn't have a roommate, to cry, see me crying. But, it was just one of those things. And I woke up in the morning, and I was just like, had the resolve. I'm like, okay, I can't afford this. I can't do this. But I'm going to work my butt off to get into the frame of mind, or get into the status that when it opens up again, I can afford it and jump in, right? And so I went, I walked in the room, and I just had that feeling. My heart was just saying, go do it, go do it, go do it, go do it. Like it was just crazy. I was speaking to my buddy Kevin, who did my cool logo intro, and I was talking to him, and it was just like my heart was pounding. And so you know what I did? I walked over and I signed up for it. Now some of you might be like, what a sucker, right? But I did what I felt I should have, and it was scary, not gonna lie, but I knew I had 30 days until the next bill was coming, and I had to make things work, or get enough to cover the next month, that kind of thing. And I got home, and within 2 weeks of being home, I had a client that I met in Salt Lake, she's an incredible woman, and like a second mom to me. She's just such a dear friend. And we partnered up for me to film some stuff for her, and it was a $25,000 budget, and we did a whole bunch of videos for her course. And it was just like 2 weeks after getting home, after signing up for the thing that I couldn't afford, that logically should have worked hard and done everything else and waited for things to fall in place before I took action and joined. Instead, I just did it. And within 2 weeks, I had results and it was paid for. And it was just so incredible. Nate knows that experience. He's went through it this last Funnel Hacking Live, right? And I tell you, if I would have waited, if I would have listened and said, you know what, I have to wait until the next time it comes open. A couple of things. I don't know if I would have had I know I have the drive, right? But the things that I learned through that coaching are the things that made me more money. I wouldn't have known it. I wouldn't have figured out a lot of this stuff. I would never have thought that I could charge somebody and they would pay me $2,000 for them to tell me their life story. Like, I would not have had that thought if I hadn't gone to that coaching program. And it was crazy. So if I would have waited, I don't know if I would have financially got there to where I could pay $18,000 for the year or $1,800 a month for the expense. If I would have waited, and it didn't open up throughout the year, it opened up again at Funnel Hacking Live this year, and guess what? The price went up $800, right? Or $700, something like that. It went up to $2,500 a month or $25,000, right? So if I would have worked and been able to, like, I had $1,800 in my mind, okay, I can do this, I wouldn't have had enough. I would be in the same thing, the same boat, right? It's like, it's just crazy how, you know, if I would have waited until everything fell into place, I would never have joined. I would never have had the growth. I would have never taken my business from 0 to 6 figures in 8 months, right? It wouldn't have happened. That timeline would have been elongated, right? So my whole thing is, if you are telling yourself that you need to wait to take action, whether that's, you know, regardless of what it is, if it's getting in shape, if it's going to the gym, if it is asking that guy or gal out on a date, if it's proposing, if it's, you know, going and doing some service for your community, if it's partnering with me on your stories or videos, or it's signing up for this awesome thing that I'm building, right? Like, whatever it might be, if you tell yourself that all these other things have to happen in order for you to take action, you're going to be waiting a long, ridiculous amount of time. And guess what? Your life is going to be the same, or you might be a little bit worse off. You might be a little bit better off, right? But it's just the time frame is going to be elongated and not fun, right? What's up? Hey, Cassie, how the heck are you? Is Tanner on? I didn't see him hop on. Thanks for hopping on, Tanner. So, you know, like, this is the thing. When we put off till tomorrow what we could do today, and when there is a will, there is a way. I did not have the money to sign up for the 2 Comma Club X coaching. I did not. I did not have the money to my name, and I put it on a credit card and told myself I had 30 days to cover it so that I wouldn't have to have a weird conversation with Liesl, because it would already be paid for, right? And so if I would have waited, I would not have had the growth that I had. If my friend who I was talking about earlier in this, if he would have said, okay, let's do this, guess what? He would get to that passion level or passion driven thing that he's wanting to build faster. Instead, he's waiting for this to happen and this to happen so that he can focus on this passion thing in order to then spend some time and money to develop the story that goes with it. Why not develop it now and put it to work and build this up so that it crushes those other things, right? It's the same, like just like Christopher, just like Lance, just like Aaron, just like Val. They have not waited. They have taken action. And guess what? The things that they have learned and the growth that they have had is awesome. And guess what? They got it for free. right? So imagine when you're invested enough that you actually invest the time to sit down and work on something specifically. We'll just use my storytelling, for example, right? To sit down and develop your brand story and spend 90 minutes going through some intense work together. Think how that compresses your time on the back end. Now you don't have to worry so much about it. You just get to tinker with it and tighten it up and experiment with it and play with it instead of have to come up with the whole thing still. And then you actually implement and put it to work, like Lance and Aaron and Nate and Val and Christopher and all those kinds of things. And Tanner, what's up, dude? Like you guys put it to work. You implement. So there's 3 types of investments. There's the investment of time, the investment of change, implementing and doing the stuff that you just worked on in that investment of time, and then the investment of money, right? Think of the growth and the results that these people are going to get as they, with their coaches. Like if you haven't worked with me or hired me, like that's no, it's no big deal. It's no skin off my nose. I want to serve and help. Just think how farther along you'd be with my help, right? But like, it's just like, as they implement and put the things to work, amazing things have happened for their business already. Christopher's done 2 Facebook Lives and he's had huge results already, right? Lance, he's got so much work going on that he's looking to hire another person. They put a new wrap on one of their trucks. Tanner's getting in there and doing awesome stuff. Christopher, what is up? Thanks for hopping on, Christopher Fresh. When we wait, we will forever be waiting. When we act and we do and we take that leap of faith, and I know it's scary. I have been there. I am there right now with some things. It is scary, but guess what? The longer you stand on that ledge looking over, the less likely your chances that you're actually ever going to jump. I remember when I was a kid taking swim lessons and learning in the shallowy side. I was always tall, so I could reach the bottom of the shallow side pretty easy, right? But like there was the test where you had to jump off the diving board, just like the standard like diving board that's like 4 feet off the water or whatever, but it goes into like 10 feet of water, and you have to jump and like swim back up to the top and swim over to the side. The longer you stand there on the diving board with your toes and you're looking down at the water and you're freaking out and you're like, the longer you're there, the chances of you taking action and actually jumping off diminish, like compound so fast. And then you do that walk of shame back to the end, right? Then there are the kids that just run and they jump off. They're like, that was so fun. And they go and they do it over and over and over again. And when you finally get up the courage, you jump off, you're immediately filled with a little bit of regret. Because you're like, why was I such a baby and I didn't do that? Why did I wait so long? It's the same with any of your business stuff, whether it's development or coaching or implementing a new teaching or buying that course or whatever it might be, right? That just drives me insane, right? So this is my thing. So Tony, what is up, dude? So Tony says he can totally relate. Very, very tough choice for him to join, but I knew he needed it to get to the next level. So he took the leap of faith, right? When you feel it, don't let your mind talk your heart out of doing something. That is one of my mantras. That should be like cross-stitched onto a thing, right? And framed. And put in all of your homes above the mantle. Okay? Do that. Let's make that a thing. No, but like, it's absolutely true. Like, if you feel it and you go to the thing or the place or the cart or whatever it is, and you're like, yes, I want to do this. And then you're like, oh, well, maybe I should do this. And I need to have this and this and this and this happen before I do it. So I'm going to do that. Like, you're just telling yourself a lie to get yourself to stay comfortable, even if that comfort is misery for you. People will choose to stay miserable over making some uncomfortable changes that will bring them freedom and happiness and joy and propel them forward. People will choose to stay miserable and hold themselves back because of the fear of the unknown, or they don't feel that they are worthy of the greatness that is there just waiting for them to take it, right? And so if you're the type that has to wait, take some time tonight, right after this. This is because I know the people who watch this are action takers and get stuff done. Okay? And so you need to take some time and ask yourself, if I have to wait, what changes? If I wait and stay safe, or if I take the leap and go and do this thing, start this business, hire this coach, whatever it might be, then what outcome will not change regardless, or what thing will not change regardless of the outcome? If you go and do this and have success, or you stay on the path that you're on. If you can break it down to the basic level, you'll see that the things that you're worried about are really nothing to really worry about and give any time in your head. And that it's better to act and do things, right? And so that's just what, like, this experience that I had over the last couple of days is all based around waiting. I've spent so much of my life, my adult life, waiting for things to happen in order for me to feel like I could try and do the things and not feel guilty for doing the things that I wanted to do. I speak from my own personal experience. But once I stopped listening to that and I cut it out, and I hired a coach and I took action and I took leaps of faith and invested and did all these things in myself, good things happened. Was it easy? No, heck no. It's hard work. These Facebook Lives, like Aaron Stewart was telling me how, like, I make it seem easy. But it's because I've done it over and over and over and over and over again. It's not easy. It's a process. It's a system. And that's why I'm developing and working on something super cool for you guys, right? To be able to share. But again, it comes because I had that faith in myself and believed more in myself that I could accomplish and achieve, and that I was worthy of it, and that I was good enough for it. Instead of saying, oh, I have to wait for my bank account to reach this, and I need to get 5 more clients so that I have this covered. And instead, I ran down the path that I knew that I should, and good things happened. And I'm not saying that, like, this person was in the wrong and needs to hire me. No, it's ultimately their decision. I have no choice over, or no control over what they decide. But it just reminded me of all the things that I told myself. Like, I remember going to things, I'm like, oh, that would be so cool to get, and seeing it was like $100. I'm like, I don't have $100. Oh, there was a set of golf clubs. Here's one little quick story. It's like, there was a sporting goods store, and I was golfing a lot. I was working in a warehouse for a furniture store, but I got off at like 2:30 in the afternoon. And Lisa worked until 6 or 7. She was working at a mortgage company during the early 2000s when things were just going crazy. And so I would go golfing with my buddies, but I didn't have my own set of golf clubs. I just borrowed somebody else's, all that stuff. But there was a sporting goods store that had a set of golf clubs, and it was a good set. Like, it wasn't just some no-name. I can't remember what brand it was, but it was a good set. But there was a clearance or some sort of sale, and it was only like $99 for a set of golf clubs. And I was like, oh, and I called Lisa and I was like, hey, I want to get this set of golf clubs. Could I? And we had the money. But it was like, well, I'll just wait. I'll just wait for a little bit. Just make sure until next payday or something, and then that way I'll definitely have enough. Guess what? When I went back after payday, the special was over. The clubs were all gone. They didn't have any left. And I missed out on it. It's something as silly and simple as golf clubs, but I waited for something else to happen in order for me to give myself permission to do it, and I missed out on the opportunity, right? So Chris asks, what kind of coaching do you offer? So I do story, like right now I do 90-minute story coaching sessions. I'm working on like a full-fledged like actual coaching program that's incorporates the story and the things that I'm good at, but it's like more life coaching stuff. But like right now I do 90-minute storytelling sessions, where for 90 minutes we sit down, we go through backstory, why you're in business, talk about your business, and find that brand message, right? And then you can use it in whatever you podcasts, or I know you do lots of lives and podcast stuff, or in a Facebook Live, or in copy for your funnels or your pages or email sequences, all that kind of stuff. Just getting your brand story, your origin story, why you do what you do down, right? And that's $19.97 for a 2-hour session, right? Or a 90-minute session, right? That's what I do. And then I work with a lot of people on crafting videos. I'm developing something. I'll give you guys a little hint. I've dropped little hints and talked a little bit about it. But how to have incredible Facebook Lives, my whole system of Facebook Lives is another course and stuff that I'm coming out with, right? So that's what I'm, do coaching wise currently, and it's just going to be. There's lots more to come, but that's you got to stay tuned and keep watching, right? So I'm just looking at comments here really quick to see if I'm missing anything. So that is my thing, okay? That's all I wanted to talk about today. You are worth taking action for. Investing in yourself, not waiting for somebody else to give you permission, not waiting for something for X, Y, and Z to happen, or for the stars to align perfectly in order for you to do the thing that you want to do. Don't be like my friend who came to me and said, "Hey, I'm really excited. I really want to work on my story. What do you sell that I can do it?" And when I told him and gave him the order form, it was like, "Well, actually, I'm gonna need to do this and that and this and this and this." And it wasn't like I handed him with something that cost $10,000 or anything, right? I was only gonna charge him the $19.97 for getting his story hashed out, right? And so it's just funny. Like, don't be like that. If you go into something, you're like, yes, I want to do this. The little warning blinkers, the risk assessors are going to be like, well, there's this and this and this, and it's going to try and talk you out of it. Shove it to the side and do what you feel you should do. In your heart of hearts, what is it you should do? Right? And then go and do that thing. And if it is, you have to wait for this and that to happen, go and crush this over here and do everything that you can to make it happen. And then run as fast as you can back over to the thing that you wanted to do and do it. Okay? So, Joanne, you're so very welcome. Thanks for hopping on. I appreciate it. So that is my message for you guys today. We started this with some Muzak, so I think it's only fitting that we finish with some. So I'm going to come up to this song here, hold tight, and we are going to let it roll from there. Here we go. You guys, I love you. Have an amazing night. Let's rock out for a couple of seconds and call it a night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Give those hearts and emojis. Let's dance it off. Dance party. I love this song. See you guys. Love you. Remember, just takes one story.